Today, I want to talk about how Citadel, the brokers, and even the DTCC will soon offer cash for your shares. The tide is changing, and the big guys will soon start turning on each other to be the first to the exit door, and that will likely feature an attempted settlement with retail investors. So stay tuned, and let's make some money. And now I'll dive straight in with the key information. So, Bigham's tweeted saying, "I always said when too many wake up, the tides will turn. They'll have no choice but to start eating each other." And he said, "For the first time in the background, I'm seeing the tides slowly turn. We were getting too loud, and they realise we're not falling for this mainstream media rubbish anymore." And he said sacrifices will soon be made, but it won't be by us. These big guys will start sacrificing off the smaller hedge funds before turning on each other. As day trader POS added, he said, "There's no doubt on my mind that brokers, government agencies, the DTCC, FINRA, and of course Citadel Securities will be offering us money for our shares to end this financial disaster they got themselves into." Obviously, there's loads of catalysts as to why this play will soon come to an end, but the main two that I've been speaking about most often recently are lawsuits and AMC's fundamentals. These two, both separately and together, have the power to end this play and cause the AMC squeeze. So let's first talk about those fundamentals. Frank tweeted saying the Taylor Swift The Eras Tour concert film has already crossed $100 million in global advanced ticket sales revenue. Many of the shills and the shorts out there told us the Taylor Swift Eras Tour concert film wouldn't generate hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. I told you the shills knew absolutely nothing, and it could potentially gross up to $1 billion. And it seems they've already done over 100 million in just advanced ticket sales. The film hasn't even started showing yet, and just in pre-sales alone they've already grossed over $100 million. Imagine when the shows actually start going live, when the cinemas actually start showing this movie. It's going to generate hundreds of millions, potentially even over $1 billion. That's $100 million in pre-orders alone, which is absolute insanity. And this is still more than a week before the first movie debuts at more than 8,500 theatres in 100 countries worldwide. It's going to play at least 4 showtimes per day on Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays at all AMC locations in the US, as well as every Odeon cinema in Europe. And there's also many other US theatres apart from AMC that have paid AMC for the licensing agreement as well. This one singular live action concert film is already expected to gross over $1 billion. Just how much Beyonce is going to gross, and potentially Lady Gaga, Eminem, Snoop Dogg and everyone else on top of that. And Popbase has added saying due to unprecedented demand, AMC and fellow exhibitors are already adding additional showtimes to increase capacity. There's over $100 million in pre-sales, and these theatre showings are already selling out left, right and centre, so they're having to release more dates and more times. This is literally generating so much money for AMC, too much money that they actually can't handle it, and they're having to release additional showtimes to keep up with demand. Bigham's also added saying one thing about AMC doing these concerts first is that other people and other artists will see how successful Taylor Swift was at the box office and want to do them themselves. When many of these artists realise how much money Taylor Swift is making, it won't be AMC approaching these artists like Eminem and Snoop Dogg. Those artists will be coming to AMC. They'll say, "We've just seen Taylor Swift has made over $1 billion showing a film at your cinemas. Please make one about me or about us." They'll also see how successfully AMC distributed the film and want to go with AMC first before other theatres as well. AMC will become the gold standard for theatrical distribution, and every artist around the globe will want to work with AMC. AMC has improved its revenues, it's improved its profits quarter after quarter after quarter for 9 quarters in a row so far, and going forward will continue improving these profits later and later and later. It won't be long until AMC is generating billions of dollars in profits, and even sooner after that, billions of dollars in profits each and every quarter. But let's also talk about the lawsuits and the effective admission to illegal naked shorting by even these market-making CEOs. Planet of the Apes tweeted this article saying this article reeks of Ken Griffin desperation. This article says naked shorting isn't the problem, but stay away from these 3 stocks, obviously including AMC. This article says when a popular stock tumbles, a common course of action is for retail investors to sound the alarm that naked short selling is occurring. This term refers to the practice of shorting a stock without having properly located and borrowed the shares to be sold. But they've also added saying thanks to a variety of loopholes, naked short selling isn't always illegal, but that doesn't stop retail investors using it as a scapegoat for a stock's problems. So they've basically said thanks to a variety of sketchy, potentially illegal loopholes, naked short selling isn't always illegal. They've said it definitely still happens, but it's not always illegal, guys, so don't worry. They've literally admitted that illegal naked short selling does indeed exist, even in AMC stock, but guys, thanks to some loopholes, it's not actually illegal, but it definitely still happens. As Hang Lu said, who wants to tell them that admitting there are loopholes is a direct indictment of the current market structure, which is curated for wide-scale fraud. He said thanks for acknowledging that we've been right this whole entire time that naked short selling does indeed happen, but thanks to some loopholes, it's not always illegal. This is something that I actually feel really strongly about. Doug Sifu himself has said that he naked short sells stocks every single day, but he does it for liquidity purposes, so guys, it's not illegal. But I think there's a really fine line between naked short selling stocks for liquidity purposes and naked short selling stocks for market manipulation purposes. Naked short selling stocks for liquidity purposes is effectively to reduce volatility in the stock. But naked short selling stocks for market manipulation purposes is to suppress a stock, but by removing volatility, you're effectively suppressing natural price movement. And I think there's a really fine line between removing volatility by suppressing the price and manipulating a stock by suppressing the price the same way. Either way, the exact same outcome is achieved. One just has a legal definition and one has an illegal definition. Either way, the natural price movement is limited and suppressed. They just say, no guys, we didn't suppress the price for manipulation purposes, we just suppressed that price to remove volatility for liquidity purposes, guys. And I think these market makers out there like Virtue and like Citadel aren't really doing it just to remove volatility and to provide liquidity, they're doing it for manipulative purposes for their own profits. And as Stephanie added, she said brokers are a huge problem. She said it's crazy they want to blame retail investors for buying the stock. The real problem is that selling something you don't own and you can't deliver. So check out these thoughts between Wes Christian and the CEO of Mullen.
Share used to be worth 10 times as much before it was manipulated down. So the best thing the brokers can do is manipulate it down. They not only get to steal more money, if they ever have to cover, they're going to cover it 2 pennies on the dollar, or maybe never have to cover it all. So they have all the incentive in the world to take that contingent liability on their books and take it to zero. That's simple.
So Wes Christian there is explaining why these brokers and market makers have a massive incentive to manipulate the price down. Oh, sorry, I meant remove volatility and provide liquidity. Either way, they have a massive incentive to try and steal as much money as possible. But that's why it's great news the president has now been set that these broker-dealers must pay attention to what their clients are doing, and that these broker-dealers are indeed responsible for their clients, their institutions and their hedge funds that are manipulating stock prices. And as more and more lawsuits come out from Mullen, from MMAT, potentially from other stocks like FNGR, and of course Hycroft Mining and AMC, it puts these shorts and these hedge funds and these market makers in an even worse position. And as AMC continues to improve more and more and generates hundreds of millions more dollars from Taylor Swift and from other artists, these hedge funds will soon start eating each other and fighting each other and potentially offering you a cash settlement. And Raktoy also added saying if there's any lawsuit against these crooked broker dealers, then one way to collect evidence is to try and move your shares away into another brokerage account. He said we'll soon find out if these brokers are holding IOUs or fake shares pretty damn quick to build a case of fraud against them. As I've said, there are tons and tons of catalysts at the moment, and these are just two potential catalysts between AMC's fundamentals and manipulative shareholder lawsuits against these broker-dealers. But one thing I also know for sure is that the tides are turning. These shorts are indeed losing control over AMC, and they'll soon be fighting over each other to reach for that exit door. So guys, be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always guys, be sure to ding that notification bell, because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. Cheers.